Hi, this is Susan at Hastings Cottage. And I'm going to flip through the pages of my very first junk journal that I ever made. My sister-in-law, Jean, kind of got me started on this, and now that I'm into it, I'm quite addicted. I've made two so far, this one and a Christmas-themed one. This one I did the cover with, I actually gutted an old book and then covered it with a fabric picture that I did out of various Dupioni and metallic silks. And this is where my studio's in, Hastings Cottage. And so I'll just do a quick flip through. I'll put a window to see through to the gorgeous picture on the next page. And I did a message in a bottle. That was a lot of fun to do. And there's a message written on there. I just stitched around the edge because I don't have one of the glue things or heat things, whatever tool it is that I've seen others use. I had various fabrics that I added in here as a fabric flip, and a little pocket and a little book that I wrote a few things on. Some of these stamps are from my sister-in-law, Jean. She sent me because she knew I wanted to do a beach theme. I used my old vintage typewriter to type up a poem I'd written back when I was a teenager. And I made a pocket out of a coffee filter and tucked in pages that I tore out of a couple old journals that I'd been keeping, and I thought I would just put them in a bag that I sewed together to make a pocket. And I typed up this poem that I really enjoyed from Thoreau, also a seaside theme, and some things that I saw in a book. Another stamp from or a sticker from my sister-in-law. Little poem that I liked, and a tiny little fabric pocket. And this is a photo that I'd taken that I made a pocket out of and then tucked in something to hold a couple of cards. And this was a watercolor. It was actually my first watercolor, so I thought I should put it in here, and I put a few little pockets that I could later on tuck a few things into. And this just folds out. I can write some notes in there later. Eternity begins and ends with the ocean's tides. I like that. This I thought looked like fishnet, and it's just from a tangerine bag that I cut up, and there's another photo that I'd taken. So I made a pocket out of that. And I made a little pocket, and this was so heavy I had to do a tie to keep it from falling out every time I turned the page. This was a little phone book that was my mom's. Thought it was just so cute, so I covered it and put this little embellishment on it and put it into that little pocket that ties. Here's the coffee filter, and this is an envelope that I covered with a napkin and some lace, and there's some pages of notes in there. I wanted it to look more rustic beach, so I have a few things throughout. Here's another photo that I took that I used as a pocket in my card. This is my favorite page. That's a picture I took up by Cambria on the California coast, Central Coast. And San Simeon is where Hearst Castle's at, and there's a winery there. So I cut out the bottles and tucked them in here. I love the way that turned out. And then there's a little pocket up above. Another pocket. That's a postcard from Cambria. Again, up the Central California coast. This is some netting that I used that I dyed with paper and covered up. This flips open, and there's a map of the Cambria area. That's some jelly printing residue. Stamps or stickers from my sister-in-law. some fabric. I have a lot of fabrics, so I did some overlays. Here's a really pretty lace, and then this is a manila file folder that I painted and then I cut out and made a pocket for the postcard to tuck into. There's fabric behind there as well. And another cutout pocket. Some things tucked in. And this flips open here, and then this is one of my favorite pictures that flips open. And then that just holds that in place. Another photo I took up by Hastings Castle. Made a pocket out of it. That's near Cambria. And so I've put a lot of my own personal things that I've collected in here. Made a list of things that I love. Another photo that's on a paper bag that can tuck a few things into. And some lace that made a pocket. And I found this really pretty vintage postcard. And there's another thing. This is down by San Diego. That I used a old book cover to make a pocket. And another lace pocket. This folds out, and that's a paper bag. And this is from my sister-in-law. She bought a kit. I'm not sure where she got that from, but I thought it was so pretty. Another photo I took down at the beach, and another pocket. And I put some fabric together. It made me think of the seaweed and the water coming up on the beach. This is just some yarn that I thought was the right color scheme, and of course there has to be a surfboard. That makes another pocket. And this is just a little place to write notes, and another fabric pocket. The other half of the manila file folder, I've got other journaling pages that I'd kept over the years tucked in there. And it's covered with napkin and a real pretty little pearl button. And another little tag. There we are. That's my very first junk journal.